Now, I would like to invite to the podium Hanna Fangerlind and Hanna Bergander from the Swedish Parliament, Riksdag, Lifting the Veil, Digital Development in Full Public View. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. We're trying to give you a little glimpse of our experience from the past years here when we've tried to not only talk about openness and transparency, but actually also working and living by it as well. That also developed digitally in a full public view. I think it was Mr. Gonzalo that said yesterday that the web is dead, long live internet, quoted from Wired magazine. And I mean, that's something we have to take into consideration when we develop websites and digital development nowadays. Right. Mission Impossible. I'm the project manager of this project. It's been going on for 2.5 years. And it's included pretty much, I think, 50 people from the administration of the Riksdag and about 25 people from 7 agencies of various expertise throughout these years. We used an agile working method when we developed, and we've pretty much rebuilt everything, as many of you do. You've been telling me these 2 days. We've changed our CMS system, we've changed our integrational platform, we've changed our infrastructure, our webcast system, a new search engine. We threw out Autonomy and we're using SolarLucine right now. We have a new design, we have a new information architecture, new navigation, a new concept of presenting information, and so on. I mean, the list can be long. And so this, all in all, is what I would say a mission impossible. But we have to remember what our main mission is, and that's mission democracy. And that's also something that we have to take into consideration with everything we do every day, because this is what's supposed to guide us. So adding this mission democracy onto the mission impossible, these were the background to what we were actually been doing for the past years. Just a little reminder, our goal, of course, at the Parliament is to increase the interest in the Riksdag and its work, to increase the knowledge about the democratic process and about the decision-making process. That is a complicated task to do, isn't it, Hannah?
Yes, it is. And I got the opportunity to be responsible for the communication in this project. And from the beginning, we knew that we wanted to explore new grounds. But the policies are the basic for our work. And as Hannah noticed, and you all noticed actually, the watchwords are transparency, openness, and trust. But what do these words actually mean when it comes to communicate the working of a new website? It's maybe easier to work with openness and transparency when it comes to the Parliament's work and the members' works and so on. But what about our own work? We choose another method because it's still common to build a new website, you make user tests, and when everyone is satisfied and everything is ready, you launch the new website. But we did it differently. So in order to achieve a maximum openness and transparency, we built it in full public view, and the method we chose was a beta version from the start, together with a developing blog. So in February 2011, the first limited beta version was published. And at the same time, we started the developing blog, And on the developing blog, we describe what we were doing and why we did do it. And step by step, more functions and content were added to the beta, and on the blog we told the public why we did like we did. No. It's also important to say that on every page of the beta and on the developing blog, it was possibilities to leave comments. And there were also some rules about the blog. We didn't want any political discussions, so therefore we actually checked every comment before we published. It's important.
Yeah, and we'll get into that a little bit further on, right?
Yeah. The target group, as many of you also mentioned, the target group normally is everyone. We can't exclude anyone. But in this project, we narrowed down the target group to people that were interested in web and web development. We also wanted to reach the frequent users of our website, so that they could get used to the new website. We hoped so. And last but not least, we also found it important to reach the members of the parliament and the administration so that they could follow what we were doing. Therefore, we linked from the external web and from the internal web to the beta and the developing blog. Yeah, the primary messages during this blog period was we describe, we listen, and we explain. So therefore, we answered every question and every comment, and that was not very hard in the beginning. I come back to that later. But we could also identify, when we listened, we could identify different needs that could also be included in the development.
Yeah. So, when we launched the beta version in February 2011, that was a nice and pleasant period of this project. It was really the honeymoon stage. All the response we had was positive, and I think that the one that I'm actually proud of was the one that people said, the Riksdag is not only talking about openness and transparency, they're actually living by it. And I think that's the highest grade you can actually get as a parliament when you do something like this. I'm going to give you 3 examples on comments that we got during this nice and pleasant period. First of all, we got really good comments about our open data, of course. We relaunched our open data 2 years ago, in 2010. Our entire website is based on the open data. It's actually our integrational platform. So this is an example, as Stortinget showed us yesterday, how to present statistical information. This is one of the examples that we do, presenting, of course, where the MPs come from in Sweden and which constituency they belong to. And anyone can build upon this open data, of course, and that got great credibility for that. The second thing that we got credit for was that our new webcast system. We've been inspired by Folketinget, the Danish parliament, on how their new system was cutting edge with their functions. And so we've pretty much, we looked upon that when we developed ours. And it's integrated throughout the entire website. The video is all over the place. And you can, it's sort of divided and divided in, depending on which section on the website you are. For instance, if you are in a specific committee for agriculture, you get all the video that's related to agriculture. Or if you are at a certain MP site, you get the video related to that MP. And third example is how we expose all the activities that is going on in the Riksdag every day. In the old website, we pretty much, we didn't show it on the front page, but in the new version, we expose pretty much everything that's going on in the parliament. And people, they wonder, what are people doing in the chamber? It's empty. So what's happening? What are the MPs doing when they're not in the chamber? So we try to expose that. And for instance, for an MP site, of course, what's this MP doing? The latest questions, their proposals, and so on and so on. So it's pretty much the same as some of the other parliaments have shown us. Then we launched riksdagen.se.
And the honeymoon was definitely over. In February 2012, we launched the riksdagen.se. And from now on, we needed to handle everyone again. That means the authorities, the government, the members of the parliament, the media, and the big public. And they were not very interested in the web and the web development. And everyone didn't love our new website. So we were used to answer maybe 2 to 3 comments in a week. And from one day to another, we had to handle hundreds of comments. But we continued to answer every comment. For us, it was very important to do that. And respond on the blog and explain our thoughts about it. Yes, maybe you can read the example first. I have to say that these examples are not representative of most of the comments, because most of the comments were very relevant. But I wanted to show it to you because we actually published it. And it was only one comment during this whole period that we didn't publish. I come back to that later.
Well, criticism was narrowed down to about 5 areas. When we launched the website, we felt that, well, we have to launch it now. We can't wait. You never finished developing a website. It's never going to be perfect. So we had to take the step. And we knew that we weren't really finished with the search engine, for instance. But that was it was a step we had to take. So criticism was narrowed down to 5 areas. The first was the search engine. The second was links. As I said, we rebuilt the entire system. So old links, most of them, stopped working, of course. So that's a problem for a lot of people and the authorities. And then the 3 other areas were related to trouble reading the documents, watching our web TV. It's Flash right now, but we're changing that in a bit. And then, of course, listings of various kinds. We didn't include all the listings that we had on the old website because we can't just present everything for everyone. We had to limit it down. But after the launch, it took about 4 to 6 weeks that we reprioritized our development. So what we did was that we actually we fixed pretty much 80% of all what the critics told us was a problem. So I think around 6 weeks after the launch, most of the criticism was, would you say, it calmed down, so to speak. So we reprioritized because of this. And lessons learned from this year of hard work. Hannah.
Yeah, we learned a lot. But one thing was that we actually opened up. It was hard and it was tough. And we got many critics about the new website when it was launched. But we never got any critics about the open process, quite the opposite. We also secured content services and functions, both during the beta process, but maybe especially after the launching. We increased the opportunity for participation. Of course, we couldn't fulfill every wish or every demand for different reasons, of course, but many comments also gave us an important input for the future development. And important to say is that we improved our own communication externally and internally. And we learned to deal with different target groups and reactions. Yes, but we had over many hundreds of comments. But there was only one that was a subversive comment, and that one was the only one we didn't publish.
Yeah. So, and to sum up, it takes a lot of time to have an open process. It takes a lot of time to develop this way, and it demands a lot of resources. So I'd like you all to think about that. But bear that in mind. It hasn't been easy. It's been quite tough 2 years, and in many ways, because we've rebuilt pretty much everything. But it's been worth it. If I would have to do this again, I would do it the same way, because it's definitely been worth it. And I mean, it's the same thing as democracy, right? It's tough. Everyone has to agree, and you have to discuss and the small steps forward and so on. But it's worth it, because it's the only way. So I'd like to finish up with everyone singing. No, about 6 months ago, we were actually awarded for our work, and it was some kind of a euphoria for us, having had 2 tough years. And I want to say that this is the most prominent award you can get in Sweden. We were awarded the Best Public Authority website, and I'd like to leave you with the highlighted sentence there from the diploma, saying, "Having a long and open beta testing period, it's something we really want to encourage." And I want to encourage all of you to do the same. So when you rebuild your website next year, I want to challenge you to have the same process that we did at the Swedish Parliament. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this charming duetto. And now, are there any questions to the 2 Annas? Yes. Please, first Finland, then France.
Sweden 12 points and Finland maybe 8 points, but this was an excellent presentation, and we are kind of following you, and it's an excellent website, I have to say. Many aspects are just great. I would like to ask about the beta phase. So when the comments came in from the target groups, were you actually, did you manage to take all the comments in and really change your way of doing it, or was it more about the openness and people can say their opinion, but then nothing really happened in your process?
I start. I would say partly. We could have done more in that way. When it comes, for instance, to the search engine, we knew actually a half year before that we maybe should have done something before the launching. Then we repaired it after the launching. So we could have done that better, but we did it partly. Yeah.
It was a decision we had to launch. We couldn't just continuing trying development. We had to launch it. We had to take the steps. So it was a choice we made. But pretty much all the comments that we got were, I would say, like 80 or 85% of the comments were things that we knew. And it was sort of more like a confirmation about the things that we knew that we had to continue developing. But we had a choice. You have a choice to prioritize when you develop functions. You can't do everything. And I'd say, like, in a year from now, maybe the website is more perfect than it is today. But then again, you have to continuously develop so that you don't fall behind.
Thank you. Anne, please.
Thank you for this excellent presentation. I just wanted to have an idea of the price of all this process. Do you have any idea?
Excuse me,
The
sorry.
price, the cost.
You mean economically, the budget?
Yes.
Or
With-
resources?
Yeah.
If you look upon the personnel, we had a few of our editors had to, during a period of time, reprioritize their activities at the Parliament, of course. So that's something you have to take into consideration. And of course, we had to have a blog developed, but it's on WordPress. It's a simple tool, so it's not that much money at all. No.
I think the most is about the human resources, and that was not a problem before the launching. But after the launching, when we had to handle and we wanted to answer everything, as you said, we did we focused on the blog, and that took some time, of course.
Thank you. Yes, please.
Since the since the launching of the new website, do you have any data of the growth in traffic?
Yeah. Well, first of all, we we don't have the same statistical system on the new website because of the new law and regulations on cookies and stuff. But we have statistics, and we have pretty much the same amount of visitors and the growth that we've had exponentially, I think it says, in the past year. So it's not like it's been more visitors than earlier. Maybe it's the same audience that visits the new website as was in the old website. So pretty much the same. Did I answer your question, Joachim? No? Yeah? Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, please. Liselotte.
Liselotte from the Danish Parliament. I think it's a very interesting process. You have gone through the open process, but I think my experience with making a website is that there's always 100 opinions in how to make things, and I think when you got all that comments you answered, I think who by you made the decision to say we make this decision and not that, because do you have a steering committee or how are you organized?
No, it wasn't any problem with that. We're quite a small group of people in the editorial group, and I worked, as a project manager, I worked really close with them and tried to update daily and help them answer the questions. And there were a few of us that helped them to how to steer the project, so to speak. But I don't know if you want to add something there.
Yeah, there were not only the comments that were the input. It's very important to say that we also did a lot of user tests. And some of the tests were also, the same as the blog comments. So, but the blog comments were also like small bugs that they found, and that's a very good example when we could do something very small and fix something that didn't work, a small bug.
Yeah, and I'd like to add something that I didn't say here. I mean, having a beta version, I mean, a parliamentary website is huge, right? You have so many systems that is underneath secretly that no one knows about, but there are so many systems. And I don't think we could have launched the website differently because this was the only way to have a quality check on all our functions and systems and documents. And we have 250,000 documents on the website and integrational systems. So in that sense, these users, even during the pleasant period of the beta version, they helped us quality check functions and services. And for instance, our webcast system wasn't launched until like 6 months after we launched the first version of the beta version. So we added on functionality step by step during this year. And that was, I think, was the only way to go to secure so many functions and content that we have.
Thank you very much. Now we have to go on. Thank you to the two Annas.